This is a wild story. This is a wild story. You ready for this story?
Ready.
Yeah.
All right, so I get called in to the office in Turkey, and they say, Paul, we've got this carpet that we want you to deliver to Washington, D.C. Now, I'm thinking to myself, okay, now I'm an MBA, went to a good school, right? I'm running finance for this company. Yeah. Why am I going to deliver carpet, right, to somebody? But you know what, though? I'm humble. So I said, okay, I will deliver the carpet. What's the address? And they said, all right, so here's the address. It's 1 First Street. I thought, that's a serious address. 1 First Street in Washington, D.C.? Damn, where am I going, right? I didn't know there was a king or queen. So 1 First Street. So get on the plane. Now, I live in Washington, D.C., by the way, so this is okay that I'm going back home. But my priority is to deliver this carpet. So on the plane, fly in. Immediately, I land, tell the driver, 1 First Street. We pull up at the Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Wow.
Get out the car, right? Say, please hold on to my luggage. Let me bring this carpet. So I'm trying to get this carpet right up the stairs. And it says, the carpet, so it's 1 First Street, A.S., delivered to A.S. So I'm thinking, okay, like, who am I delivering this to? Kwame's already thinking, who is this? I go in, and they say, oh, Justice Scalia's office is down there.
Shit.
It turned out that I was delivering a carpet to Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia. We're in his chamber. He says, oh, thank you so much for the carpet. I really appreciate it. I remember when I saw that carpet when I was in Istanbul and Enver said he was going to send it to me. I'm so, happy and thankful that he sent it to me. Oh, do you want some coffee? Oh, so what's your name? So where are you from? Oh, Jamaica. You know what? Actually, I love Jamaica. Let's talk. I have 30 minutes. Let's talk. Let's sit down and talk. And it's just me and Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia. Now, whether or not you agree with his politics, which I don't,
Yeah.
you can't deny the fact that he is one of the most, or at the time of his, because he's passed, right? But the time of living, one of the most powerful
Absolutely.
people in the world. And here I was, 30 minutes, hanging out, basically, talking about anything and everything. And it was at that precise moment, and I'm talking about this is 2005, 2006, that I fully realized the power that comes from wealth, the power that comes from influence, the power that comes from being a billionaire. Because it was billionaire Enver Yücel, who I was working for at the time, that sent me over to Antonin Scalia. When I left that office, that was the first day that I decided I would start journaling everything I could about Enver Yücel, because that was an experience I never could have fathomed. And I realized whatever he did, Enver Yücel, to get into a position where he could just send over a carpet, right, to one of the most powerful people in the world and have it be so well received, I want to learn these lessons. And so I started journaling. And so for the next 4 years of working with him, I journaled. And then when I stopped working for him and went on to work for Oprah Winfrey, Miss Winfrey, as if you're working for Miss Winfrey, you say Miss Winfrey, right? Not Lady O. I then started journaling everything I could from her. And what was really fascinating to me, mind-blowing, is that at the end of journaling for my time with Oprah, I looked down at the journals and I realized that here were two people completely different. One's a woman, one's a man. One's from the United States, one's from Turkey. One made her career in journalism and media, the other in education. Completely different. One speaks Turkish, one speaks English. But yet they had the same habits. They did the same things. And so I decided to write an article on the things that I learned, the lessons that I learned, that I saw that were commonalities among these two. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today.
I'm excited.
All right. We've got some phenomenal folks in the house. I already know this is going to be hot. I already know. Like I've unbuttoned my shirt. Because that's how hot
Chest
it's gonna
meat
be.
is out. Oh God.
That's how hot. So I would love for you all to go around, introduce yourselves, please. Let us know your name, where you're from, and what you are passionate about.
Well, I'll start. So I'm trying to figure out, do I give my legal or do I give my industry? You know, we have the pseudo situation going on. So I'll give you both. But my legal name, I'm Jared Brown. My pseudo industry name, if you will, is Jay Ali. It's a derivative of my middle name. So just to make things easier for people, because everyone calls me Jerry. Nevertheless, I live in Atlanta now, but I'm originally from Pennsylvania. And what I am passionate about, I'm thinking about a previous podcast I listened to on your channel, and there was a young lady by the name of Nina who stated that, you know, she was so eloquent in how she stated about people development, and that is spot on with me. People development, mentorship, not just for young African American boys, but even for girls.
Yes.
You know, how can you get into the business? How can you get into business and do it properly? So I'm passionate about people development and mentorship.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you.
Humbled. That
Yes. Oh, she's here.
I didn't know you were going to be here, but thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And you hit it spot on. Yeah. I love people development too. I love relationships, and as I said before, I'm passionate about leadership development specifically. The idea that anyone from anywhere, no matter who you are, could become somebody that inspires others, that seeks to better other people, and then takes that and makes change, transformational change anywhere, is absolutely what I'm passionate about. And to get back to the first questions you asked, who am I? So Nina Oduro is my name. I am from Ghana. I was born in Ghana and grew up in the U.S. here in the Washington, D.C. area, Northern Virginia to be specific. Anything else I'm missing?
Well, tell us about this incredible T-shirt that you have on, because I need one. We don't have one of these, right?
Yes, and
Okay.
you need one.
Yes.
You know, so I am co-founder of a company called Dine Diaspora. Dine Diaspora, we connect people and brands to African food culture. What that essentially means is we connect people and bring them together through storytelling, through food, and culinary experiences, whether it's through events, through sort of building brands through using food as a mechanism to share, what they do, and in various different ways. This shirt specifically highlights the different spices of the African diaspora.
There you go.
So I'm gonna quiz y'all. Suya, where's that from?
Nigeria.
Yes.
There you go.
1 point there.
Love it.
Jerk.
Jamaica.
Yes.
There you
1
go.
point there. Adobo.
Is that
Mexico, maybe?
Hispanic?
Well, just Hispanic, the Latin
Latin
American.
America, okay.
Yep. So you got it there. Burberry. Come on now.
North Africa?
No.
South Africa.
No.
East Africa.
Very distinct. They're known for coffee.
Ethiopia.
Ethiopia.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And cayenne.
Cayenne pepper.
Where's Cayenne originally from?
Caribbean.
Trini?
Guyana.
Guyana. Okay.
Yeah, that's the one
Okay.
most people don't know about. And
Okay.
just with a little research, you'll learn that origins of it are thought to be from Guyana.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
Lessons.
just the shirt alone, you're wearing it seems fun, but it's really a cultural
I love it.
experience, and you
Intentional,
can
too.
teach
That's
people
cool.
something
Yeah.
about the African diaspora.
All right.
Well, thank you
I
for
like
teaching
it.
us already. That's it.
Yeah, right.
That's it, guys. That's the end
Thank
of
you
the
so much for
podcast.
coming out.
So I'm Kwame Som-Pimpong. I am from Greensboro, North Carolina. My dad's from Ghana, mom's from Eastern North Carolina, so I share some heritage from those places as well. And in terms of what I'm passionate about, it's kind of similar to what we've heard before, but specifically I'm really all about developing Black people and wanting us, like, at a macro level to be connected. Just like we got a taste of these spices from different parts of the African diaspora that are all magical in their own right. I believe that Black people, we carry our magic in the various areas where we live around the world, but it's only part of that magic. I think that once we're fully connected, like, that really will kind of explode, like what we can do, and the impact we can have on the world.
Love it.
What
I love it. I love it.
moving
That makes me think of a question, and I would love just to get a quick just name and then who they are, like just one sentence. But who would you consider to be the most influential business person in your life, whether it be someone who you've directly mentored under, you've worked for, maybe in Jay's case, they've worked for him, right? Or maybe it's someone who you've just read about, right, in history. Who is that? Kwame, let's start with you.
His name is Robert Long. I'm going to his daughter's wedding today.
Wow.
He is Chief Innovation Officer at Coca-Cola, understated black man who's one of the most powerful people at the company. For the past almost decade, he's kind of just pushed me to, continue bettering myself. So,
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Nina?
So I used to work as an intern for a black millionaire couple called the Walters here in Virginia. Their journey to me is very impactful because they came, especially Anthony Walters, he didn't have much growing up and became a mega millionaire, but having the opportunity to be part of the company as an intern, getting to know them was, to me, one of the best things you could do for a young black woman in college at the time. But just knowing that these people were normal. I think to me that was what was like, I could be this too, and anyone can be this by knowing what their journey was and by also learning that continuous learning journey and not saying, oh, I can't be because I don't know. Right. And that's what impact I think it had on me.
Okay, love it. Love it.
For me, there will be two, if that's okay.
Sure.
The first person's name is Howard Daneberg. Howard Daneberg, he's since passed away, but Howard was so instrumental in my life. When I started my career, I was actually started in banking. Right out of high school, before I went to college, started in banking, and I just wanted a job over the summer. And this older Caucasian Jewish gentleman came into the bank, fully suited, very dapper, and for whatever reason, he took to me and literally began to mentor me and taught me things such as how to properly wear a suit. I'm talking about basics.
Wow.
Not business in the beginning. But long story short, he was just instrumental in my life all the way through my banking career, which taught me finances and credit and all those good things that I needed as an adult and then to be a successful business owner. But as far as business now, my mentor hands down is Roger Milstein. Gentleman, California, we met at a restaurant. I was at a table with friends, he was at the table with his wife, and we began to talk. And since then, he is the one who has made Paid and Popular Entertainment Group what it is. He refused to allow me to go into business inappropriately.
Wow.
For lack of a better word.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's, I think it's going to be fascinating then to see if these lessons that I've kind of, extracted from Oprah and Enver, if those resonate through the experiences that you've had with these folks who've been the most influential in your life. So let's get it going. The first, and I hate to even say this is in priority, but this is probably what I saw to be the most relevant among these two. The first is that I saw how they invested in themselves.
Yeah.
And the idea here is that the moment you stop investing in yourself is the moment that you've written off dividends for the rest of your life. And we're talking about, really right now, we're talking about your career. We're talking about, as a professional. Now, this is what I find to be interesting. You tell me if you saw this with your folks. There were 5 areas that I saw them invest the most in. All right. One of them was in life extending activities. What's a life extending activity? Well, I'm going to the gym.
Yes.
Kwame's been at the gym. He was actually late because he was at the gym. But it could be the gym. It could be diet. It could be whatever. But activities that will allow you to extend your time on Earth.
Yes.
Right? Number 2, time creating activities. Systems. Like, how, you got a friend. Actually, this was me who, oh my God, where are my keys? Oh my God, where are my keys? Where are my keys? And you spend 15, 20 minutes. Well, man, put together a system so you don't waste those 15 minutes every day.
Yeah.
I saw how they spent time on how can they become more efficient, time creating activities. Number 3, skill development and mastery. Number 4, the people around them. They invested in the people around them. I mean, this is exactly what you were just talking about, Jay. And then last but not least, savoring life, creating moments. And that's something that I've really taken away, my wife and I, in trying to create moments. Did you see those the same with those people who were very influential in your lives? Definitely
for me.
Okay. Are there anywhere else that they invested that you think is important?
I would say there were other areas, but I just want to focus on one of your 5.
Okay.
The time investing in yourself. I was taught very early that you have to have a balanced life. Yes, in your youth, you can really go hard for your career and build your brand, and that's wonderful. But as you begin to grow, and even as your business begins to do well, you have to invest in you. You have to take those time to create those moments. If you're going from country to country and city to city and state to state, are you really taking in what's happening?
Right.
You're going to a award show or whatever the case may be. You're just doing it almost out of routine, and you're not really recognizing what is occurring in your life. And you're just accumulating things and even wealth. But I learned, invest in yourself. Like you said, the gym, the diet. I'm getting better, Kwame. Help me out, okay?
Every time we say gym, we're gonna be looking at Kwame.
I know, like, oh my God, I haven't been.
Don't look at me.
But nevertheless, yes, that is so huge for me. And the meeting that I had this morning,
Yes.
that I told you about, I was talking to the gentleman. I said, you must balance your life. It cannot be all brand. So that's one thing that I push.
Okay.
For everyone. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm with it. But now let me ask you, because this is in investing, do you believe in balancing or in prioritization? Because, and the reason why I bring that up is because a lot of folks will say, Paul, man, you're doing so many things, right? How do you balance it all? And I say, actually, there's a lot of things I just don't do.
Yeah.
What I do is I just prioritize those things that are most important.
I wish my client could be here, because I thank you for correcting me, because what I said to him was the prioritization.
There you go.
I started out by saying you have to balance your life. And then I said you have to prioritize. There are a lot of things that I don't take.
Right.
There are a lot of opportunities that I don't accept at this point, because I've now prioritized what is important and what's not as important. So the balance then goes into the prioritization.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm with it.
Yeah, I do. I totally agree with investing in yourself, and I have seen it in those that I think I admire and are successful, to the point where I've changed my own practices. So this year, I always thought I was going on vacation. I thought, oh yeah, you going? Oh, me too. I have vacation time. I'm going, and I never took a vacation, real vacation, until this year, and I realized what the difference was. My vacations before were taking time to either work on my business. Outside of other work that I had to do, or going to someone's wedding, somewhere. If I left the area, it was vacation.
Yeah.
And for the first time, I went somewhere and I did nothing. And what that allowed me to do is reflect.
Yeah.
Right? To take that time to reflect on, where am I prioritizing? What am I doing? Why is doing nothing was for the first time so okay, because no one needed me and I wasn't there for it. I didn't have to. I was like, wow. So this is what people mean when they say vacation. And then it was different. I was in another country. They usually say holiday.
Holiday.
Yeah, I was like, I'm never using this word vacation again, because it means doing something and all these things. But holiday in these countries mean everybody's doing nothing. All the stores are closed.
Yeah.
You can't do anything.
Yeah.
I'm on holiday.
Yeah.
And I think that is so important to this invest in yourself. I've seen the entrepreneurs that I'm talking about really go for weeks at a time, and it was vacation. Kids, we're off. Don't call us. Don't do anything, and come back recharged. Come back with fresh perspectives, ready to change new things. Yes. This is like the first time I'm realizing what that is even like, and I've been talking about it. Like we could have had this conversation last year. I'd be like, yeah, vacation, I didn't understand it. I didn't know what I was talking about.
Wow, this will be interesting because of another lesson that I saw. But actually, let me drop, because we could do whatever we want, right?
Yeah.
Let me drop this is lesson number, where is this? Lesson number 7. All right. So now Nina is going to disagree now. Lesson number 7 that I saw from them is take no days off completely. I recall going on vacation with Enver several times to Turkey. We'd be yachting up and down the southwestern coast. It's also called the Blue Voyage, Mavi Voyage. But in between the swimming, in between the games of backgammon, there would be discussions of business partners invited, etc. I saw the same thing with Oprah. How do you feel about that? The take no days off completely? Because I'm torn.
You know, I say do this, but what I realize is that my business is me, right? It is actually my identity as well. And I think when you're at that point, you found something that you are so passionate about that a day off in your mind is not truly about just not thinking about that thing. It's still there in my mind, but you still need to unwind. I think getting a little bit away from the daily is what sucks you in. Emails, everyone wants you, but that bigger picture, stepping aside from that and like meeting someone so new, I could sit there and like, you could just go eat by yourself.
Right.
And just meet someone new and then you start talking about your business. That's not work.
Right.
That is broadening your mind. That is a new, taking this journey that you've had and getting new perspectives. You can meet brilliant, amazing people that it wasn't an agenda. I didn't go here to meet anybody, but this is so much a part of me. And that I'm bringing it to you. You can look at somebody and know that they're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, and the minute you start talking, they bring it to the table because it's part of them.
Yeah.
That's what I think is valuable. And I don't necessarily think just shutting off your email or anything like that is going to derail your company. I actually think if you are a person that has things in place and in order to be able to do a holiday, nothing should falter.
Yeah.
If you're not able to keep talent or hire good talent, do all the things that a business needs, you can never take a holiday. You can never do that.
Right.
So yeah.
She said so much. Can I just unpack one thing?
Sure.
I mean, I'm over here. to
Jump on it. Jump on it.
So I disagree with take no days off totally.
Okay.
If I go back to Howard Dainberg, I said he taught me the basics. One of the things he said is that corporate heads take a vacation once per quarter.
Yes.
And what they do is this vacation, we use the word at the time, this vacation, and I love holiday, I use it as well, but this vacation is literally leaving your environment. If it is going to get a hotel in the city, if it's renting a car, it's leaving your environment and allowing your entire psyche to reset.
Yeah.
What you said about the gentleman that you were with, notice he invited the business partners to his yacht.
Yes, this is true.
Or to the backgammon game. So now I'm in a space of I'm disconnected and I'm now choosing, which he said, I am in a place where I can choose to bring you, and this is on now my, if you will, turf. And I am not bogged down with the day-to-day. I'm not in an office. So I'm reset. I'm relaxed. I may be in khakis. I may be in boat shoes.
Right.
And we're going to talk business.
Right. So this is interesting. So you're breaking it down as if you remove yourself from your standard environment, from your typical environment, then at that point you have disconnected, and that's the holiday.
And some of my most effective meetings are when I'm disconnected.
Okay.
To your point, you meet amazing people, whether it's when you're on holiday, whether it's in passing, when you're not even attempting to make a connection. Always ABC, always be closing. However, you know, I'm just, hey, nice to meet you, or, you know, where are you from? And then it turns into a whole partnership.
Right, right.
So I think that we're on the same page.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you've removed yourself. But you're not completely off. 'Cause I think it's impossible.
Yeah.
Like if this is your thing, to like not for things to not trigger that. So like like you said, like, hey, how you doing? Oh, you from here? Oh, I just did a deal down there.
Yeah. You're not going to miss a moment.
Right. So you're not completely off. And like I think in your article you talked about it in terms of like this is your baby.
Yes.
So you're always going to just, you know, make sure it's okay. But, you know, we'll have your boundaries so you can step away.
So, I really like this notion of removing yourself from your environment because as I think about it, I've always had a hard time with this one because I can't disconnect permanently. But, man, if I just remove myself from my environment, right, I'm in a new space. So I love it. I love it. All right. So now, let's go on to the next one. Be curious about everything, right? What the average person sees as mundane or overly complicated, it's not viewed the same way with that billionaire mindset. And this was the moment that completely tripped me out. So I'm in the car with Mr. Ugel, and we're in Washington, D.C., and he points to the curbs. Now, right now, we're in Washington, D.C. Look at these curbs. Do you notice anything about these curbs?
They're rough.
Yeah, they're dirty.
Jagged.
DC, welcome to DC. I'm not from here.
Y'all are saying those are rough? I think those look
I know,
pretty
we feel
good.
like it look nice too.
Oh, but see,
Like,
when I
where are we
moved here,
comparing it
I mean,
to?
I
Yeah,
noticed,
right, there
I
you
noticed
go.
them too when I moved here because I'm used to the rounded,
Ah.
like smooth ones from the south. Like
Yeah.
you don't see jagged ones like this.
Jagged. All right, I see what you're doing. Who invited you here, Kwame?
But I do like these.
Wow.
Like they have a classic feel to them. Like
All right, so this is what I find. All right, you said that you did notice that. I promise you, I've been here in D.C. for however long. I never looked at the curbs, never. And he looked at the curb. He pointed. He said, "Do you see this?" He said, "Look at how pronounced and high the curbs are." And he said, he can tell about how industrialized a nation is based on the curbs. And as you go to countries that are less industrialized,
yeah, you don't.
they are smaller and smaller and smaller to the point where, as you just said, they're non-existent.
Yeah.
Some have no curbs.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is fat. So here we are for 30 minutes. We're here talking about curbs.
Wow.
For 30 minutes.
Wow.
This man is incredibly curious. I believe curiosity is a game changer for mindset. I mean, have you noticed the same thing? So this point is always be curious about everything.
Yeah, yeah. I struggled with that. I struggled, notice I said past tense. I struggled with it, especially when I began in business, because I never wanted to seem ignorant. I didn't know who to ask those questions, even though I had the mentors that I mentioned. Something, I'm not going to bother them. They own securities firms. They own this and that. They are millionaires and they're established. And I know they're doing this almost like a sympathy project. So I'm not going to bother him with something that minute. And then when we would connect, so did you ever think about so and so? Like, you've got to be kidding me, you know. But I struggled with it for a number of reasons. Culturally, you know, in school we sat to the back of the classroom.
Yes.
You know, so I struggled with it. But as I began to grow up and I got more confident in me, take business away, confident in Jared. And I belong at the table. You invited me here. I'm sitting here. So I'm going to ask the question. And hopefully it opens the can of worms and we can unpack it. But I did struggle with it.
Okay.
But I think it's important.
Yeah. I mean, so in terms of developing it, though, how did you go about developing it? Because this is something that I think we all struggle with, is that curiosity. And also, to your point of culturally, I remember growing up, like, don't ask any questions.
Yes.
Like, keep your mouth shut.
Your mother told you when you go in the store, don't ask him for anything. So it was embedded. It was innate.
Right.
You know? Everywhere you don't ask for nothing. How the way I developed it is literally I went to counseling. I had a life coach, and then I had an executive coach.
Okay.
And they all serve different purposes. My executive coach is the one, Damaris Price, shout out to her, who helped me with those things. And she dug into my life and said, this is where it started. What are you going to do? I have to move on from there. And now I have to be very intentional in doing what I'm fearful of.
Okay. Any Kwame, Nina, did you ever struggle with curiosity? I mean, you two strike me as two people who are extraordinarily curious. Yeah. But did you ever struggle with that?
I mean, I think you can get down a rabbit hole with curiosity.
Yeah.
I think I struggle with it now too, because in a business, especially in a business where you don't have like a large staff, you have to be curious, I think, because you need to be able to maneuver different hats. Know a little bit about finance, know a little bit about, markets growing, not growing. I learn things. I have to learn new things every day. What is my investor pitch going to look like? Things that I did not go to school for, I was genuinely not interested in. So that curiosity, it's necessary to grow, right? But you have to also understand your limitations, because you're not going to be an expert. Right. That you need the advisors, the others to come in because your curiosity is not going to lead you to be the best at it. You're just going to know enough to be able to move forward. Right. And I think that's what I struggle with, because I want to know everything. Yes. And I want to know how. I go down to the point I'm like, I think I'm going to take some classes and I'm going to get a degree.
And then you become overwhelmed.
Right.
At what point do we stop?
Right. So then I have to talk to other people to bring me back. And where I get that point is when I seek support. So you get to a point where you're like, okay, let me talk to somebody that knows. And when I realized that I could never get there in this short course that I think that, I can take it, but
exactly,
it was just only satisfy my curiosity.
Exactly.
This is this expert's experience. They've done this. And that's where that point, if I don't get there, I chart down a path where I think it's not healthy for the business.
Yeah. Right.
And I think you need to recognize that, so you're not investing time in ways that are not serving you as a person or your business, and curiosity can take you there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You said one of the items from that top 5 list was investing in the people around you.
Yes.
Kwame and I mentioned it. I said, I have now developed a board of directors for my life. And that's exactly what Nina's saying. I began to look at the people around me, or pull people around me that I now can seek counsel from.
Yep.
Yeah.
The experts, because I'm never going to be that.
Well, you know what? Just to segue that, and Kwame, I'm going to go to you on this one. Is the next one is actually just that: surround yourself with better people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Exactly.
And I wrote, I hope this is why they kept me around. Although Oprah let me go after a year, so I don't know what that was about.
It propelled you.
But I said, seriously, I never knew my bosses to have anyone less than stellar in their circle. And what I noticed what they did is that they identified areas that they were exceptional at. And that meant there were a lot of areas that there were not. And they focused on those areas they were exceptional and filled in the gaps on those areas that they weren't. Yeah. Kwame, you see the same thing?
Yeah, that definitely resonates with me. I'm constantly kind of assessing the people around me to make sure we're all ambitious and seeking to better ourselves. And for me personally, while I'm rabidly curious, but I need the people around me to be smarter than me, in something, because that's the person I'm going to be asking a lot of questions. Because I'm going to read everything about it, and then my expectation is that you know more than what I've spent hours reading.
Absolutely.
So that is the point where I had the challenge to your question, before, from. My godmother got me all these encyclopedias when I was a kid. I had all these National Geographics. I would spend days just reading stuff. And I developed this ego where I was like, I can figure out everything on my own. Then I got to Davidson College, and they were like, oh, really? and it was like a brick hit me in my face. So I had to get over my ego. I had to develop humility to be able to ask the questions. Instead of trying to figure everything out for myself. And there was surrounding myself with better people.
Yeah, I think this is why, personal development is so important with regard to, business. And one thing that I'll never forget is when through USA Today, I got an opportunity to interview Swizz Beatz, Kasim Dean. And he said something that really impacted me, where he talked about how he said, I get inspired from anyone, right? And he was like, Paul, I get inspired by you. And I was like, okay. Is that a compliment? But his point, really, at least how I read it, is that he never has a large enough ego to not be able to humble himself to know that there's a lesson from everyone and anyone. And I thought that was powerful. And I saw Oprah and Enver do that as well. I thought that was extraordinary. All right, let's keep it going. This is my favorite. This is number 5.
Okay.
Never eat alone.
Oh.
Never Eat Alone. Now, that's the title of Keith Ferrazzi's book, Never Eat Alone. Yeah. But I witnessed both Enver and Oprah do this. Now, Enver Yücel was the most, I would say, ambitious in this. So I would get a call. He would be in Istanbul. I'm here in Washington, D.C. And he'd say, Paul, I'm coming in tomorrow night. I want you to arrange a dinner. I want 12 people at least to be at the dinner. Who do you want at the dinner, Mr. Ujo? Oh, I like to have the mayor. I like to have the senator of so-and-so. I like to have the head of the Wizards basketball team. Like, I want all these people at this dinner. And then my job was to go out and try to put these folks together. And we would sit at this dinner, we would eat and talk. And I realized that what he was really doing was incredible. Most of us read the newspaper or magazines, but what is a newspaper and a magazine? It's what happened yesterday. He was sitting down with all of the newsmakers to find out what's going to happen tomorrow. And I saw Oprah do the same exact thing. I thought it was phenomenal. This is something now I've tried to replicate in my life. Have you seen this as well?
Wow. I want to hold on this one.
Oh,
Because I'm thinking, this is good.
Yeah.
This is good.
yeah.
So I mean, I've definitely seen this in a few areas. So like, I picked this up from my dad. He is constantly cooking for people at my parents' home, and he has nurtured relationships with like the most powerful people in Greensboro through, hey, come over for dinner, and they may or may not be talking about the future. But they're developing this relationship to the point where, like, I don't think my parents make a ton of money, but they have access to everything. Have this massive house. I still don't understand how they got it. You know, the whole Ghanaian community is like looking to them for, you know, support and help. So I picked it up there, and then in my life, like the past year or so, I've been testing like a little like book salon where I have a curated group of folks come over to my place for a meal. They've read this book. We talk about it, and seeing the extent to which that has resonated with people in terms of like casting vision to the future has been pretty amazing. So,
do you think it's something? And Nina, this will be interesting to get your take because of Don Diaspora. Do you think this is something that is it special because the relationship is being formed over food?
the food is special, I think.
Is that is that the secret ingredient?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
So
certainly was.
that's the basis of where my company comes from, right? That food is a connector. And when we started to watch people. So we started with these intimate dinners, about 18 to 24 people at a time, all selected from different spheres of life to come together. And every time we had it, they would become friends. We had people travel together. People got married. People started businesses. But what we started to notice was that the food was the immediate connection point because it's everything. It's something everyone can connect with,
Right.
right? So that you weren't coming there saying, I am this person or I am that person. You first talked about food. And one of the first questions we usually ask is, well, what's your favorite meal and when was the last time you ate it? And that puts everyone's guard down because everyone has, you ate something you loved sometime. So you can talk about it. So everyone has something to say. So if you're an introvert, you have something to say. If you're extrovert, it didn't feel like we were all put somewhere and we had to form inauthentic connections. And authentic connections happen when people are able to let their guards down and not be forced to prove themselves at a table. When food is there and intentional conversation is created around food, I think those barriers can be stripped away.
Okay.
And that's what we started to learn. That's like foundations of building relationships. Why does food matter? We can strip away everything and I always say, if you don't like somebody, just talk about the food.
There you go.
Yeah.
And if the food is really good, you lose all of your pretense because you have to get in the food.
Right.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That reminds me. I remember I hosted a Thanksgiving, and it was great. The food was phenomenal, right? Everything was good. The person I sat across from voted for Donald Trump.
Oh.
I was like, the moment that she said that, everything tastes terrible. Everything was terrible.
How did you get on the guest list?
Like,
Who invited you? Oh,
I
God.
love some mac and
Was
cheese.
she a plus one or was she an invite?
She was a plus one.
Oh, okay, well then, yeah. So now, who brought her cannot come back? He should have vetted his guests, right?
Yep.
I can't even drink my coffee no more.
It just ruins everything. Is just ruined.
man.
But so my question, I just want to stay with this for a second because what can someone do who's listening who says, all right, I understand, I see it now. Food is a connector. How can they now leverage that for their advantage? What can they do? I mean, do they have to create their own book salon, or is there something else that they could do?
I recommended this to my niece. She's first year college, and she wants to develop friends and some authentic friendships, and et cetera, et cetera. And she's been relatively introverted growing up, but she loves to cook. She found out there were some other, persons on the campus that love to cook. I said, why don't you all go and find a cooking class?
Okay.
It was
So
like a
you do it
light
together.
bulb. So she, put a flyer up, 6 girls, her, she has 5. They go to a cooking class. They're like best friends now. This is their second year actually now. So I would say a cooking class, cooking together,
I like it.
especially in a relationship. It's such an easy date night,
Yeah.
but amongst friends, how
Yes.
awesome is that? We love the food, the finished product. Let's do it together. Someone's a stew, et cetera, et cetera. So
Yeah.
much fun.
Yeah.
I love it.
Another thing I picked up when I was lobbying in Atlanta, my boss would bring like a little snack to a legislator, and it was amazing to watch. Like he'll bring them an apple or like a Snickers bar, and they're like, "Oh, thank you." So like I do that. I do that at work now. Like in the evenings, I'll bring folks a chocolate chip cookie or something, and like how it goes incredibly far.
Really?
Yeah.
In
All right.
terms of strengthening your relationship.
That's done. What works better, the apple or the cookie?
The apple's probably healthier, but the chocolate chip cookies bring a big
All right.
smile.
Well, on the next podcast, I'm bringing red stripes for everybody.
Oh, my,
That's what I'm
my.
gonna do.
Sounds good.
All right. So, number 6 was take responsibility for your losses, right? And the whole point here is, I think, just to be courageous enough to say, this L is on me. This loss is me. When I was working for Oprah, it was actually, I would probably say, the worst time of her career, because this is when no one could even find the Oprah Winfrey Network on cable. They were like, "Oh, you're on OWN? What channel is that?" right?
Or had
Nobody
to have a special subscription for it.
yeah. I mean, it was ridiculous. It got to the point where people were telling me, they were saying, "Oh man, working for Oprah is not a good look."
Wow.
That was a thing at a certain point, right? And I remember she marched right on national television. She on Gail's show at CBS, and she said, "Look, the ratings are terrible, and it's my fault, and I'm going to do something about it." Opposed to pointing blame, hiding, etc. So taking responsibility for your losses. I'm sure everyone that you all have mentioned does the same.
Absolutely.
I'm sure.
Absolutely. And I was taught the concept of servant leadership. So, yes, I am the head, I'm leading, but I'm here to serve my staff and our clients. And if the staff makes a mistake, the client is coming to me because, Jay, we have signed with you, not the intern.
Right.
So I have to take the responsibility. Now, what happens after the client leaves is a different story. We have a new intern now. Nevertheless, but absolutely, I learned that, and still learning it. To the transparency, being honest, taking the L. Absolutely.
There you go.
And I think it's hard to do, but I think there's a huge cost when you don't take responsibility.
Yeah.
And what I've seen in my experience is that when responsibility is not taken as an entrepreneur, as a leader, you end up blaming everyone else, right? And what that means is that nothing's wrong here. We're amazing. We're perfect, actually. It's everyone else's fault that this did not go well. What that means is that you don't reflect on yourself and grow.
Yeah.
So you don't know, you just don't acknowledge where there are faults. And if it's everyone else, then they need to change. And we don't have anything to do with that. They can go on.
Yeah.
I think you lose customers like that.
Yeah.
You use relationships like that. You become a business that's only looking so insular as being the best or better than others. And what I've seen this so many times, competitors come and take you down. Because now you're amazing, you're the best, but you're not looking outwards and taking that feedback. That's feedback. You messed up somewhere.
Absolutely.
And so I think the cost of that is so heavy, and learning how to do that, it's hard. To say that we didn't do well, we're not as amazing as we thought, I think takes personal growth. It's not about just businesses are here. It's really about you as a person being self-aware.
Absolutely. To your point about pointing the finger at everyone else, my dad, in his sermons, he'll often have this quip where he's like, you're always pointing the finger at other people, but you've got at least 3 other fingers pointing back at you. And just to that point of, like, you think you're the issues with everyone else, but really with you.
But is this a trait that's popular among the most successful people in business, or are we just talking about 2 outliers here with Enver, Oprah, or the outliers of your business mentors? Because it's interesting when I think about the most the biggest brand entrepreneurs of the world, people like Steve Jobs, right, or Elon Musk. These are not people who you would put in the same category as being humble.
Right.
They would be pointing the finger at everybody else but them.
But I think that the Elon Musk, the Steve Jobs, their type of business is so different now. When you think about, if we use Oprah, starting in the late 70s, early 80s, becoming Oprah Winfrey, the network and all that, it was the grind. You really had to prove yourself. She worked. Now I come up with an innovative idea. I start an app, and I am WhatsApp, and I'm a multi-billionaire, and I'm 24, and I sell Facebook. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that the humility, unfortunately, has to be there, because society and the millennials, they love the arrogance and the pomp and the circumstance. It's all about balling. It's all about what you look like and how flashy can this one be over here. We talked about it, as far as the city where I reside, So I struggle. I don't know. I don't know if it's necessary even. I mean, I think it's important, but
it may not be necessary.
It's not a mandate anymore. Wow. Not be necessary.
I think. Go ahead.
I think as a business leader, impact beyond just success of the business is important to me. And I think that your values as a person matter just as much as what the business values are. So if you want to be, that CEO that's mean, that drives results, you're actually losing something as a result of that. And it might not be business success that's a loss. It might be staff satisfaction. We know those companies that you mentioned, there's not high staff satisfaction. People are driven to do things outside of their abilities or what is really truly healthy. So there's always a cost, but if numbers are the only thing that matter to you, or being just number one, whatever that value is, that you can go that route too. There's different models, and for me, relationships, people also matter, and that's high on mine just as much as being number one for business success as far as driving revenue. Who's doing what, how we're doing it, that impact also matters.
Gotcha. All right, guys, I'm going to do speed round only because my wife has not yet sent me a text. But I know it's coming.
It's being typed as we speak.
Yeah, she's like, I see. Okay, so the next one, number 7, is understand the power of leverage. This is something that was quite a bit of a shock to me. From afar, billionaires appear to be someone who masters everything, but in truth, they're specialists in one or a few areas, and they're average or subpar at everything else, right? So the key is leverage. And that was a word, I didn't even understand what leverage was, right? But now I realize, oh my God, I believe everything they do is about leverage. And I was trying to come up with what I consider to be the easiest way to understand that word leverage. I said, it's to use something to its maximum advantage. Something or someone to its maximum advantage, right? Leverage is the key. Any disagreements on that? Because it feels like the game is about leverage. Totally. Even if you are just I'm creating this app overnight, everything, it's about leverage. Fair?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, yeah, I agree. All right. So then we keep it going to the next, which is actually number 9. So we're almost there, is focus on experiences versus material possessions. And for me, what was interesting is, one is, I mean, let's keep it real. These folks have big toys. Yeah. Great big toys.
Right.
Great big toys. Yeah. But at the same time, it's about the experience. So it's about, hey, we're going to put together a dinner at my great big mansion, right? But it's the experience of the dinner that's most important. You know, with Oprah, something behind the scenes that I don't know if people realize that she does is that she has her school in Africa. And what she does is she brings those girls with her everywhere. We were on a road show where we were selling advertising to the show. So different cities, Chicago, Atlanta, New York, and we would have to wine and dine these executives. And what blew my mind is that always at a table behind us, not too far, were 6 of those little girls, 10 of those little girls that she had there to be a part of this experience. And what she would walk away saying is that, yeah, this work that we're doing is important, but the experience that I'm able to share with these young girls, that's life-changing. Yeah. So it's about the focus on the experiences, not the actual material.
Yeah. And what she, just like you said, the experience, what I am, without saying a word, and putting into them, is something you can't pay for.
Right.
Experiential knowledge is worth more than any book we can read, any school we can go to, the best school. Until you get that experience, you just have a beautiful piece of paper on the wall.
Right.
So I agree. And I mean, I was saying the same thing as far as, you know, just going, stop and have the experience. When I travel now, I don't go to a country just to say I went to the Great Wall. I want to know about your culture.
Yes.
Because if I want to have global impact, I want to make sure that I am doing things properly and not disrespecting your culture.
Yes.
I won't know that if I stay in Atlanta and just, you know, I have to go and have
What do you do in Atlanta?
You know, I forgot where all the cameras. Yeah. So the experience is so important. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think another thing that comes to mind is like the relationship between experiences and time. So like thinking about like time as that kind of currency, as opposed to, you know, getting the money to be able to buy certain things, being able to like kind of buy your time to be able to have those experiences. At least for me, that's kind of where I'm trying to go directionally, to like buy as much of my time back as possible to be able to take my daughter to Ghana as often as I want, and those sort of things. So.
Yeah. You know, you just hit a really special place for me, because that's life for me right now. It's about being able to have that time and share that time with the people that I love the most, right? Which, I'm not trying to be sappy, but that includes all y'all, right? I mean, we're recording this on a Saturday in the middle of the day, right? All of us, we all could be doing something else, right? This is what I love doing, right? Chopping it up, talking, having conversations with people that I adore, you know. So I agree that is life, like that's living. Yeah, that's living.
Agreed.
All right, so we've got the last one on the list, and this is very simply, don't go it. Or don't go. What did I say? No. Don't go. Don't go at it alone. Nothing great in life is achieved ever, especially in business. Success is not a solo act. Everybody yelling, I'm self-made, is not self-made. You know? And then here, what I saw was interesting is that my man William over here, he named something that he calls it the classics, right? Where I say you should be always around aspiration, inspiration, and instruction. Right? Those are the 3 that I'm always talking about. So thanks to William, I'm gonna call those the classics now. Enver, Oprah, they surround themselves with people that fit those same 3: aspiration, inspiration, and instruction. I find it to be fascinating. This whole idea of you can't do this thing alone. You can't do life alone. Right. You know, it's interesting. You talked about it was a couple, right? You know, Kwame, you're talking about you're going to the wedding, so I'm assuming there's a family there, right? That's in there. You know, we can't do this thing alone, and clearly they're not doing it alone. And just for the record, right? I think a lot of people say, well, Oprah is entirely self-made. She runs solo. No, she's not. You got to give that credit to Gail. You got to give that credit to people like Eric Logan, who's the president of Oprah Winfrey Network. Stedman, who, can I tell you something about Stedman?
Wow.
Yes, please.
Can I say this about
Wow. Like, oh yeah, share.
Can I say this about Stedman? Stedman is the MVP because I specifically remember going on that road show, and you would see Oprah at dinner, you know, laughing, having conversation, conducting business, and I was staying in the same hotel. Which, by the way, she would like stay in in a Sheraton or a Marriott. I was like, "Why are you here?" I mean, no offense if Sheraton or Marriott wants to sponsor, but I would just say, "Like, why are you here?" Right? And inevitably, you'd see, you know, be in the lobby, and Stedman would be walking through, going up to that room, right? Stedman was always there in the background, right? So I call him the MVP, but. Would you say that? Would you all say that this is something that you've seen? Testament can't do it alone.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, I think this is a goal area for me because I mean I have people who I surround myself with who I'll like go to for like kind of finite things. Like I have this question, but I want to get to the level of like Jay-Z and his crew, like. They are constantly together.
Yeah.
Like I want to get, I love my alone time, but like, I would love to get to the point where I have my team of people where we have the shared vision, and we're like every day moving towards this. So
I would say this highly resonates with me, and I have a story for it. So the reason why I'm here. One, I believe like my whole thing is like curate the network that will grow you, right? And you're the designer of that network, right? You have full power to either bring everyone you think will take you somewhere, and be open to meeting anyone that will come. I think a lot of times people are closed after you create it, and it's like, I got them, these are my crew. No, you got to be open. But the reason why I'm at this table is because of Kwame, and who knows Mami, who got in touch with you, and then here I am, right? So just being that opportunities arise from one, being open, one, being able to share genuinely and connect with other people, and knowing that, and not being too protective of the idea that I am the only one that can make my this thing or whatever I'm doing better. That there are other people that I can open up to, trust, and be vulnerable, and allow it to not work. And I had to. We as a. I'm in a partnership.
That was good.
That was a vodka shot.
My Dine Diaspora is a partnership. 3 women. We call it 3 women, 1 idea, right? And every time anything starts to break within us, I repeat that to myself. 3 women, 1 idea. It's because we are not on the same page. That one idea is probably not firm, but it's okay because we have different things we bring to the table to get back on that page. And so to me, that is something that I've learned so much about, bringing new people. Why is it so key? Because we're going to all work together towards a common goal. And if something does not work, it is okay. And that okay part is probably the hardest to deal with.
Love it. I love it. I tell you what, I think we could sit here for hours and hours and hours, and there is another 10 on this list, so maybe we should come back and chop up the other 10. But before we get out of here, final thoughts. What would you say is one thing that you learned from your business mentor that we have not yet discussed? One thing, one lesson.
There's a saying that I was given. There is pain in change, and there is pain in staying the same. Pick the pain that moves you forward.
Wow.
And I live by that in everything that I do. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be fearful, but you're moving forward. I don't want to stay here. I don't want to be the same person in 2020. So I have to just pick the pain because it's temporary.
Yes. Love it.
That's good.
I love it.
For me, it's give back. I met these entrepreneurs because they were giving back, right? Sitting with me, helping me develop, or just even meeting me, giving me the opportunity to intern. It's because they said some young person out there needs an opportunity like this, needs to be connected to us. So if you're building yourself, reach out to those that should have the opportunity to replace you one day.
Yeah. I would say mine kind of relates to yours. Is kind of like pursuing the uncomfortable. Robert, my mentor, early on talked to me about like what played a key role in him being in the role he is now, was like taking the hard jobs internationally. So like being a black man going to Japan to build a business, going to Latin America, and taking his family with him and figuring it out. One, he built, an opportunity to like turn around a business or whatever, and that just kind of put him in position to be in the C-suite. So
yeah, I love that. I love that. I love it. A matter of fact, you saying that I think is my closeout is that when I worked at Kaplan Test Prep here in Washington, D.C. No shade to Kaplan, but I felt like, it was one of those jobs where I could have been there for 30 years and, got a pat on my back and that was it. And a gentleman walked in to my center one day and asked me if I wanted to go to Turkey. And I honestly didn't know where Turkey was on the map. I didn't know. Seljuk he's behind us. He's from Turkey, and he's like, all right, it's fine. I had never had Turkish food. I had never met anyone from Turkey. And I had an opportunity at that moment to just shut it all down and say, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm comfortable, right? I'm going to pick this pain of being stagnant. Yeah. But instead I said, you know what? Let's see. Let's see what you got. Let's see what Turkey's all about. Let's see what you Turks are all about, right? That decision changed my life, putting myself in a place of being incredibly uncomfortable. Literally changed my life, but I'm going to even take it a step further. Not only did it change my life, it changed the life of my children, and I believe it's going to change the life of my children's children. Yeah. So there you go. Testament to what you just said, Kwame.
Awesome.
That's it.
So guys, thank you very much.
Thank you.
This has been thank you. This has been good. This has been good. We're gonna have I'm gonna call you guys the VIP roundtable.
Oh my goodness.
The VIP roundtable. For everybody listening, thank you very much. Remember, Better with Paul is a series where we're trying to help you to become better in life, in love, and these lessons that we're sharing are all a tribute to the lessons that we've learned, throughout our lives. So continue to listen. Be sure to join the Better with Paul community, and be sure to check out our Better with Paul event series that Nina here at the table is helping to organize. So that's it. God bless.
Yeah.